Building theory from and for practice. What is theory? What we're thinking about here is that theory is a coherent, a meaningful and structured set of concepts, prepositions, which we use to define our experience. They're principles of explanation, in a sense, which we use to observe phenomena and understand phenomena. So what makes a good theory? Certainly validity is important, or in other words, that the theory that is being developed, the grounded theory which is being developed, actually fits to the facts that we can clearly observe in the classroom. Also, what makes a good theory is that it is generalizable. We can make generalizations from that theory to other contexts, other situations, and therefore make predictions about how things will occur in different contexts and situations, and make predictions about the future in terms of events and occurrences. And another aspect of good theory is that it's open to replication, or in other words, the findings that we have, the theory that we have, can be repeated time and time again. And so for the reflective practitioner, there are certain constructs that we can use to help develop good theory. And teachers use concepts or constructs as variables in terms of theory development. These constructs can be many and varied. It could be ideas about school leadership, or beliefs about the place of education in society, or many, many other things. And as such, the process of personal theory building has certain propositions. There are concepts which, for the individual, for the reflective practitioner, are the basic building blocks from which theory springs. And propositions are used by the reflective practitioner to develop linkages between the concepts and between concept and ultimate theory. And as we move from concept to theory, the level of abstraction becomes greater. Or in other words, the level of generalization becomes greater the more we move from concept to theory. And we can look at an example. For example, concept A, punishment, is related to attendance. The proposition here is that punishment is going to have some impact on attendance, and attendance is abstracted in this sense because the type of punishment could affect the amount of attendance, and whether attendance is actually linked to punishment is contested. And what this means for the reflective practitioner is that at an empirical level, an observational experiential level, we can look to see changes in attendance through certain forms of punishment. So, for example, a hypothesis would be that by shouting at students, we actually increase attendance by some amount. Of course, this is just an example. We're not saying that these things are true, but the idea is there that concept through proposition develops theory. And so what makes good theory? Good theory needs to be precise, of course. It needs to be specific in terms of variables, and the variables used to measure the outcomes from applying a theory. It has specific relationships between variables also. And induction occurs when we can observe a fact and ask why that particular thing is happening. And the idea then is that there is movement backwards and forwards, a reflexivity in terms of building theory and the process of personal theory building for the reflective practitioner. And therefore, it's a very deductive process in terms of formulating and testing hypotheses.